Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we're back with another brand recap installment. If you don't know, my brand recap is a little mini series that I do at the end of the year where I basically just review and also rank the collections that have come out by each brand. And I am also going to share some of my thoughts on them if I didn't receive them in PR, like which shades would I actually be inclined to buy, and since I did receive them all in PR, were there any that I set aside to destash? So without further ado, let's just get into it. Starting in the month of January, ILNP released their Love Story Trio. This was for Valentine's Day. I feel like the past couple of years, they've been doing these little trios for Valentine's Day, which is really exciting to see. This year's lineup, though, featured these studio color finishes, which are basically the non-specialty finishes. They're usually creams, crellies, or jellies. And these three are what I would call maybe more like mature, classic sort of colors. So they are really nice in formula, but nothing, that stands out so much. I actually really liked 2/3 of them, so I think I would give them a B, but I think that might be higher compared to a lot of other people who thought these were really boring, which, is fair. But generally, I do love a classic kind of cream. My two favorites from here were Soulmate and Adored, which were the pinky ivory kind of color and the berry red. Unfortunately, Love Letter was not my favorite shade on me. I think it is like pretty in the lineup, but it's just, one of those personal preference things where that's the one shade from this trio that I wouldn't be buying. So unfortunately, that means that it is sitting in my D-stash pile. Then in February, we got the first spring collection of the season, where if you don't know, ILNP usually releases 2 full or 6-piece collections per season with an occasional studio color release that's either a trio or a quad alongside some of those collections. And as you just saw for January, we got the trio of the studio color. So I feel like since that's been a little pattern, we're probably gonna see another Valentine's Day drop next month. But anyway, back to February, this first collection for spring was called Candy Coated, and it was these really bright and fun, colorful shades inspired by candy. I wouldn't say I have much of a sweet tooth myself, but there's something about like the vibe of anything, relating to candy and translating it to nail polish that I think is just so fun. We got 2 new fairy dust siblings with Sweet Tooth and Peach Ring, which were the pink and orange respectively, which you already know how I feel about those shades. I adore them. I also did really like their magnetic called Rock Candy because it's just a really gorgeous teal color. I don't know if I would buy that one. Like, obviously I would easily add Sweet Tooth and Peach Ring to my cart like immediately, but I think Rock Candy is one that I would maybe get later on because I already have Enchantment, which is another teal magnetic but a little bit more green, and I really love that one. So I don't know if I would get Rock Candy even though it's kind of different, but the other shades I actually was kind of like meh on, where Sugar Cube I was a little underwhelmed by because it was so incredibly sheer. I wish that you could see that purple base a little bit more, so I did already destash that one. And then for the Hollow Jelly Flaky polishes, that might be surprising because I actually love that finish from ILNP, but these two were just not my favorite. I mean, the green is just a shade of green that I don't usually wear. It still is in my collection because I think it can work well for nail art, which is how I want to use it. But the pink Gummy Bear ended up being really similar to another shade that I already had called Misbehaving. That one is just a little bit more warm toned, which I just prefer on me. So I decided to also destash Gummy Bear. I know it's such a cute shade, and as a certified pink lover, I do feel a little inclined to want to keep it, but I'm always complaining about running out of room in my Helmers, so if I had to choose one, I would choose Misbehaving. So even though I'm not super crazy about the whole collection where I would just buy it immediately, I think I still would rank this an S just because I love the lineup. as its own thing. I always love their mixed finish kind of collections, and this color palette again was just so fun, especially for the time of year. We're so used to seeing these more muted pastels and, you know, just like the lighter spring colors. This was just like really refreshing. So all in all, I really do love it. And I know it's early, but I think that was easily like one of my top favorite collections from the year. Then in March, we got the second spring release, which was called Rewind. And this was another 6-piece lineup, but this time of the same finishes, which consisted of these pastel kind of crellies with a very, very dainty holographic sparkle. I personally really like this one too. I mean, I do remember at the time when it first came out, I wasn't as excited because it was this like softer, more muted lineup of pastels. So in a way, I kind of still stand by how I felt, where I kind of wish like the two spring collections were swapped, because in my mind, the softer muted pastels just, you know, make more sense like at the end of winter, the beginning of spring, and then the brighter colors make sense as we get closer to summer. But either way, you know, now that we're months removed from it all, I just really love how they are. Like, they're just such cute, nostalgic kind of shades. They remind me so much of like Polly Pockets, and I don't know, I can't help but like love and get so happy over those, even though they are, again, very simple, like really simple kind of colors. Even the finish isn't super jaw-dropping or anything because it has that very dainty hollow sparkle, but I just love it. So I wouldn't give these an S, but I think I would give them an A, which I know might sound crazy. I feel like objectively, a lot of people would probably give this collection like a B, maybe even a C, because this is another one I could see a lot of people saying is like boring, but I just think they're too cute to be as low as a C or even a B. But yeah, I think out of these, I still have all of them, don't plan to destash any. I think the ones that I would be most tempted to buy though, probably to no one's surprise, are the pinks, but I think I would also add in Scrunchy, which was like the periwinkle kind of color. Even though it is like a little bit on the muted side, I'm just always a sucker for a periwinkle, and again, having that like cute, dainty kind of vibe, I think just really works with that shade. So we got a little bit of a break in April, and we didn't see the next release until May, which was also the first summer release, called Illusions. This was a 6-piece lineup of these multi-chrome magnetic kind of shimmers. They were really color shifty and very unexpected for summer, I would say, at least unexpected for me. Definitely a very cool vibe where, if I remember correctly, like the marketing kind of had this almost Alice in Wonderland theme, which I think is just really pretty. To be completely honest, I was initially going to give these an A, but right now, I'm kind of feeling like a B. Like, my top favorite, hands down, is Hypnosis. I would immediately grab that one, but a lot of the other shades I'm kind of meh on, where like they are stunning, they're super saturated, again, very colorful and super shifty. I think my two other favorites are Misfit and Flipside, just because of those like specific color combinations, but I don't feel super inclined to like grab them either. And then the other half of the collection, I'm kind of meh about, where, you know, the color combos are nice, but maybe not ones that I would personally wear or reach for super often. The only one I did immediately kind of set aside to destash was Unraveled, just because I really did not like that color combo. But I still do have Alice and Warped, even though, again, I don't know if I'm gonna reach for them. It's just nice kind of having the option, but those two are what I would say are on the chopping block, where maybe down the line, I could see myself parting ways with them. So yeah, while I feel a little tempted to rank them an A, because I generally do love ILNP's magnetics, these were like just kind of okay. So I think it's fair to give them a B. Either way, if I did rank them an A, I would still put them behind Rewind, I know that might be controversial, but that's just, you know, those are my tastes. So at the end of May, we actually saw ILNP implement their price increase, which was so sad to see because it was just really the end of an era. ILNP, for as long as I can remember, since like 2015 when I first bought from them, was retailing their polishes for $10. Like every finish was $10. Maybe there was an exception here and there with like a specialty unicorn pea topper that they had one time. And then in the more recent years, they introduced magnetics to their formula or their catalog, and those retailed for $12.50. But everything else was $10, which is just crazy. But now all of their boutique effect polishes are $12.50, so they're all the same cost as the magnetics are, and it's still fair. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining and saying that they're like too expensive, because even with their price increase of $2.50, which is a lot, it still makes them very affordable compared to other boutique brands and even a lot of other indie brands too. And thankfully, they didn't increase the prices on their studio color line, which are the creams and jelly kind of polishes, anything that doesn't have a specialty kind of pigment in there. So all of those are still retailing for $10. So definitely love that. Then in June, we got the second summer release with the Heatwaves collection, along with a little quad of these neon jellies called the Sweet Escape collection. Both of these releases were in their studio color line, which again are just these non-specialty finishes. So the Heatwaves were these really pigmented creams in mainly pastel kind of colors. Like there was a hot pink in there, but everything else was very light, maybe like a bleached neon, while Sweet Escape did have their one white milky jelly, but the other three were more traditional like neon shades. While the polishes were nice, like they performed well, especially Heatwaves, like the coverage was amazing, it still just kind of wasn't what I was expecting or hoping for a summer release. So I felt a little let down by it, mainly again like the color story, where we already got pastels, you know, earlier in the spring. So seeing more light colors, it just wasn't what I wanted. So while I appreciate that Sweet Escape did have that like neon punch of color, they also weren't really shades that like I would gravitate to, or at least that's how I felt about two of them. Like obviously my favorites from that quad were the white and the hot pink, but the yellow and green, you know, not really for me. Where I haven't destashed them, and I don't think that I will, because I kind of like the thought of having these neon jellies because they are very neon compared to other jellies in my collection. And I feel like there is maybe more potential to use them in nail art as opposed to just swatching them like on my, or wearing them on my whole hand. It's just one of those things where it's like, I recognize it's nice to have because I got it for free, but I don't think realistically I would go out of my way to buy the yellow and the green. And then going back to Heatwaves, I kind of feel the same, where it's a nice collection, but I think the only ones I would really feel inclined to buy are Oasis and Honeybee. Maybe Cream Pop too. It's kind of hard to choose between those two, but those three were my favorites that I feel like are a little bit more unique compared to the other shades that I have in my collection. And those just happen to be three shades that I would like reach for and wear a lot more often than the others. So, you know, it's kind of like a, I don't want to say hit or miss. It's just that they're not super exciting, you know? So I honestly think I'm gonna give both of these releases a B, but I would have them behind the Illusions collection. Like I like that one a lot more. And honestly, maybe even behind the Valentine's Day trio. Like that might be controversial, but I don't know, like with the trio, because it's smaller and I like 2/3 of them, that means that I just like that collection more, right? So yeah, that's where we're gonna put it for now. We got another break in July and didn't see our first fall collection until August with the After the Rain collection. This was a 6-piece lineup of these pigmented, saturated fall jellies with these gold iridescent flakies, kind of like the warm sister collection to Overcast from from the previous winter. I really love these. This is a finish that I don't always love from ILNP, where I do love like their jellies with like a hollow flaky, but sometimes the iridescent flakies that they go with aren't my cup of tea. You might remember me feeling that way with last year's New Year's Eve collection. I'm like blanking on the name, but the one with like curtain call and take a bow, like those flakies for some reason didn't really do it for me. Maybe it's because these have gold flakies and I just love that a little bit more. I thought they were just nicer, but even the base colors I thought were so gorgeous too. Like they really captured that rain drenched vibe, but then like the sun comes out afterwards. So all the colors just look so rich, just so stunning. So I honestly think I would give these an A. And there's so many favorites in here too, where I don't plan to destash any. I feel like this would be a collection that I would be so tempted to just buy the whole thing. But if I were to like really pick and choose, my top favorites are Drizzle, Dark Roast, and probably Ginger Snap. Next in September, we saw their second fall release, which is also historically their Halloween collection. So this year we actually got two releases. We got Twisted, which was the 6-piece multi-chrome magnetic lineup for Halloween, as well as the Thorns collection, which was a quad of almost black jellies. I guess starting with Twisted, since that's the proper Halloween release, I really liked the inspiration or like the direction that they went with, because they were a lot of just darker magnetics, but still really cool and colorful with their combinations. So while I thought, you know, the lineup was really cool, someone did point out how ILNP always has a mixed finish lineup for Halloween, you know, all the previous years. So having all magnetics this year is just kind of a letdown, because you obviously get so much more variety if you have these different finishes. So once they pointed that out, I was like, oh my gosh, wait, you're so right. Like ILNP does amazing Halloween collections. So this one, you know, I can see it being a little bit lower in comparison to the others, and not to mention the fact that this came out just a couple of months after Illusion. So we just got a lot of the same exact finish, you know, being these multi-chrome magnetics, but just in different color combinations. In general, I still like them, so I think I would give them a B, and I would say my top favorite picks from here were Electroshock and Distorted. I think those are just like the more unique color combinations, especially to my collection, but the other shades again are like really nice because they're basically the same finish, just different colors. Then for the Thorns collection, so I was let down by these because I had been begging ILNP to come out with these darker jewel tone kind of jellies for the longest time, because they only like somewhat recently introduced their studio color line, which are just these, you know, plain polishes. They started out with a couple of creams, mainly from the Poolside collection, which was actually years old, but they only recently started doing jellies, and we would only get like a couple here, a couple there. And so I just really wanted like these darker shades from them. They kind of delivered, but maybe like over delivered, because these are incredibly dark. Like they are near black, which, don't get me wrong, I think can be cool for like the vibe that you're going with. Like I love that it's giving this dramatic, gothic, vampire sort of aesthetic, but that's not like what I'm always going for. I wish these were just like ever so slightly more sheer, so that more often than not on the two coats you can see a little bit more of that color, but then maybe doing a third coat brings it to that near black, like dramatic look. So yeah, unfortunately I would give these a C, just because they were a little bit of a letdown. Like not bad polishes by any means, but they're just so dark, and I do still have them all. I don't plan on destashing any of them because I'm trying to see if it'll be worth keeping them specifically for nail art, because wearing the colors just like on their own, I feel like they're gonna be too dark, where I don't know, I just personally I prefer seeing like a dark purple on my nails and not something that looks black unless I'm like in direct sunlight or something. But I feel like they could be really cool in some nail art, especially for like stained glass. Like, it just sounds like it would work so well. Now that I think about it, maybe this is a collection that I would skip, because ever since I bought those Starly jellies, I have just been so impressed with them. And I feel like when I did my comparisons, I don't remember if I said it in my video, but I definitely thought it, that these Starly jellies are what I wished ILNP Thorns was. But anyway, ILNP skipped October, and then we didn't get the first winter collection until November with Santa's Workshop. This is a mixed finish lineup that actually had a lot of micro flakies despite being different finishes, but they're all inspired by this classic nostalgic Christmas color palette. So I absolutely loved this lineup. I know we see greens and reds all the time for holiday releases, but there's just something so magical about how they captured the whimsical, cozy nostalgia of the Christmas season. This is an easy S tier for me, where I would be so tempted to buy the whole collection right away. The only one I'm not super crazy about is Unwrapped, which is the dark teal jelly base with the gold and teal micro flakies, just because it is kind of similar to Noel, which is the dark green with rainbow flakies. And like I shared somewhat recently, Noel is like a new holiday staple color for me, so that is for sure being added to the list. Since this is like a more recent collection, I haven't even thought about destashing any of the shades, but I guess like thinking about it now, it probably would make sense to destash Unwrapped and maybe Secret Santa, just because I already have a lot of other shimmery reds. I know I was also a little bit let down with Reindeer Crossing because of how sheer it was. I do wish it was a bit more pigmented because I love the warm, cozy brown base, but I feel like it's just easy enough to layer it over another brown that I have, just to add that intensity to the base. So I don't plan on getting rid of it, even though, again, I wish it was a little bit better formula-wise. So yeah, I think I would be inclined to buy this whole collection and then just set aside, you know, Unwrapped and Secret Santa. But if anything, I think my top 3 picks are Noel, North Pole, and Toyland. And most recently in December, we got their second winter release with the Snow Day collection. This was a 6-piece lineup in their studio color cream formula. So kind of similar to the Heatwaves collection from summer, but obviously in a much more muted, soft winter color palette. I know a lot of people didn't really love this color palette, or at least thought it was a little too repetitive compared to other ILNP winter releases, which is totally valid. I can see it because they definitely do a lot of like blues, browns, and pinks. But to be honest, I really love that color combination so much. So I think it makes sense why I enjoyed this lineup as much as I did. I was even inspired to do nail art with them, which I haven't done in like so long. So I was just really excited to see these. There's obviously a lot of recency bias because these just came out. So I feel like I want to give these an A. Maybe I could see this one slipping down to a B in a couple of months because I didn't love like some of the colors on me, at least when it comes to like a full manicure, which is another reason why it's kind of hard to like rank these, because some of the polishes, it's like I love them, you know, wearing it as a full manicure, they're super stunning and that makes them higher obviously. But then other shades I don't love as much as a full manicure, but then I think they have really great potential for nail art. So yeah, I think for now I am just gonna keep them in A. So that wraps up my brand recap and my rankings for ILNP's collections this year. I know it might seem crazy to rank some of the cream releases ahead of their specialty finishes, but like I said, I'm a sucker for a good cream, and I feel like their formulas especially have been so amazing. Not to mention, again, the other aspects of like the themes of the collection, the marketing, you know, it just puts them a little bit ahead of some of the other releases for me. It was really interesting though to look back on the kind of formulas and finishes that they've released this year, because I feel like it was very much a lot of magnetics and creams. On one hand, I'm not too mad at getting 2 full-size collections of the studio color shades, because it's a great way for them to flesh out their catalog, especially compared to the previous years where they would only release like a quad or a trio here and there. So it was just really hard to get a lot of colors from them. If anything, I was a bit more surprised to see the 2 magnetic collections, just because they were so similar, both being these multi-chrome magnetics. I guess in general, we did see a lot of magnetics this year, just from like a lot of brands, but I don't know, it just felt like a lot from ILNP having like these 6-piece collections just be a few months apart from each other. Overall though, I think they had a pretty solid year. Not so many standouts compared to like previous years for me. Like I was most let down by their summer releases this year, where like they were nice polishes, but I don't know, just not what I was like expecting, or I just wasn't fully in love with them, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would love to know what you think of their releases this year. What were some of your favorites? What were you disappointed by? And of course, what you would like to see more or less of for next year, because again, even though I love ILNP magnetics, I wouldn't be mad if we got like 1 or 2 for all of 2026. So make sure you let me know your thoughts down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!